moved to freelancing. For a few months, I used to freelance on Notion, as in making templates for people and like customized templates, etc. And then later on, I moved to All In Capital, where I'm an early stage VC. So I've been working here since March. Aside from that, I'm passionate about economics, philosophy, and everything that has to do with the future, hence maybe AI. So now, as we begin the session, since we are starting at 2020, I think the Q&A time might be reduced by a few minutes. So for the first 20 minutes, I would be covering what exactly is artificial intelligence in the present day context for us, like the definition that applies to us, and how we can leverage it, etc., would be covered in the next 20 minutes. After that, whatever time is left, we'll do a Q&A, and perhaps we can extend the Q&A if Anmol allows later on, and if the time permits. So now that we dive into the session, what to expect? First of all, expect big picture stuff, which might bore you in the beginning, but it is important to understand how exactly will artificial intelligence impact your career. Since most of you are between the ages of 17, 18, and 2021, you are just stepping into your career, whether that's freelancing or the job market or an entrepreneurship based career. And AI will impact you the same way computers impacted or internet impacted those who were starting out in the year 2000, or in the year 1999. So AI would be a big part of how you evolve your career. Even if you're a non-tech person, it will definitely impact your role. And I would like to talk about the big picture stuff and the freelancing opportunities that get created out of it. Then I'll address if AI will take jobs away. That's in the future slides. I'll address what will happen to freelancing, whether it will increase or decrease or whatever. How can the current freelancers survive, and just how can they adapt to the new situations? And lastly, what freelancing niches will actually grow in the years to come, like this year onwards, which freelancing niches will grow. What not to expect. I am being very particular about this, that please don't expect 365 chat GPT prompts, as you might see, those threads and lists on Twitter. While they are very useful, and kudos to the creators who compile them, this is not something you should expect from today's webinar, because uh, I would prefer teaching you how to fish than to give you fish. So in one of the slides, I'll tell you how to use GPT appropriately, but like for your benefit, but I won't give you a list of prompts that you can copy paste. I won't give you a list of AI tools that feel illegal to use, because, well, that's again a very clickbaity thread that people write. Well, it's good that they are curating tools, but if anyone wants AI tools, they can just go to futurepedia.io, where they can find the entire list of all the AI tools available on the planet. So yeah, I don't need to spend time on that in the PPT. Then I won't give a monologue on how humans are special and we'll cope with AI, etc., etc. It would be naive to say that AI won't affect us. It would be wise to say that AI will affect us, and it would be foolish to say that AI will eliminate all our jobs, etc., etc. So, like the truth lies somewhere in the middle of AI will take away all jobs versus AI won't affect us at all. How exactly will it affect us? I'll cover. And don't expect any doomsday Terminator style commentary that AI will take over and enslave humanity and whatever. We are not here for fictional discussions. Right. So as I said, big picture stuff. So by that I really mean the biggest picture stuff. Let's look at this chart from the year 750, that is 1200, 1300 years ago, to all the way to present day, which is a little after 2000. All throughout the age of humanity, whenever there was a significant scientific revolution that created new technology from zero to one, which was distributed across the world, it ended up increasing both our life expectancy, our income per capita. So each of our incomes, it decreased the people living in poverty. Uh, it increased the number of the amount of energy we had, like electricity, etc. We had, which powers everything, and it also, well, correlatedly increased the percentage of people living in a democracy, which improved all of our lives. So as you can see in this graph, look at British Industrial Revolution in the end of the graph, or the Enlightenment, or the Scientific Revolution, or before that the European Renaissance. All of these events ended up impacting technology in such ways that new technology, which we or rather the humans of the year prior to that never imagined was created. I'll give you a very small example. So during Industrial Revolution, one of the new things that humans invented was plastic. We all use plastic every day now. However, for that time, plastic was a very new concept. So, and as an offshoot of that, like as a second order effect of invention of plastic, we invented this thing called a test tube. Now, what does a test tube do? I think everyone here knows what a test tube is, right? It's present in every chemistry lab across the world, and it helps us combine elements, perform experiments, etc., etc. Back in the day when test tubes were originally launched, uh, test tubes reduced the effort, time, and cost of conducting any chemistry or chemical experiment by 1/10. So if you were putting 100 units of effort before the era of test tubes, because of the invention of test tubes, the scientists were only putting 10 units of effort, if I could put it that way. That did not mean that 9 out of 10 scientists became unemployed. It just meant that because scientists were able to perform 10x faster experiments, 10x better quality experiments, and 10x cheaper experiments, uh, the, the net result was that due to the higher quantity and cheaper cost of experimentation, we invented new things at a very, very, very fast pace. So most of the metals we see around us today, most of the inventions that we see around us today, including this computer itself, including my camera or this, this mouse or my keyboard, was invented because we were able to invent test tubes. And test tubes were invented because of the Industrial Revolution. However, if you go back to the period of Industrial Revolution and ask someone about what a laptop would be, probably that person would not even be able to imagine such a thing. So, in the next coming years, we will see inventions that you and I today cannot imagine. We will see creations that we simply cannot even dream of. And this time we won't have to wait 300 or 400 years for those new inventions to come up, inventions that we can't even dream of. Rather, rather this time the cycle will be much faster because with every new technology, as you can see, the curve has always spiked, and this will lead to creation of new jobs that today we can't even imagine. Like being a YouTuber, like Ishan is, would not have been a job uh, before even the internet, and internet would not have been a thing if yeah, am I audible now? Okay, I really don't know why this is happening again and again. But till what point did you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. So until very recently, I was audible. In case I'm not audible, Ishan, sorry, Anmol, you can just unmute yourself and let me know because I could hear you all the time. Okay. So we were talking about the big picture stuff, right? And I hope my screen is visible. Perfect. So Ishan wouldn't have been a YouTuber without the internet. Internet would not have existed without the semiconductor technology that we have today. The metals that we use in semiconductor would not have existed had we not created new alloys in chemistry labs. Perhaps those experiments on those alloys in the chemistry lab would not have happened had we not created test tubes, because test tubes are essential to a chemistry lab. Test tubes would not have happened without plastic, which won't have happened without the industrial revolution. So the second, third, and fourth order effects of new jobs being created is something that we can't imagine. Like the moment in which test tubes were invented, nobody could have imagined today's YouTubing culture or today's internet culture at all. That's all I was saying. And hence, we don't really need to worry about AI taking away jobs. If anyone is more concerned about this and wants to read up more, read up the lump of labor fallacy, which is mentioned in the third bullet point in the slide that you see. It will ease your mind on how humans will create so much new things in the next few years that we will see new jobs arising, and the present day jobs will be automated or become obsolete. Right. So now, just as an extension of the previous slide, it is very common to think of new technology as a holy grail for all the problems that we face today. So when ChatGPT was launched, everyone was super excited, thought that it solves everything. Finally, it's a superhuman that we have. However, over time, the excitement lowered because we started to discover more, we started to understand it better, we started to understand its deficiencies, its negatives. We started to see that sometimes it can give wrong answers as well. And perhaps over time, this this sentiment or this excitement that we have about GPT or artificial intelligence as a whole will mature into a true understanding of what it is and what it can help us do, what it cannot help us do, and what new can it enable us to do, which creates economic growth in the long run. So yeah, again, lump of labor fallacy. If anyone is concerned about AI taking away jobs, they should read about that. Now let's zoom into today. Okay, what is ChatGPT really like? We should understand what GPT really is. GPT is not a superhuman or someone who is intelligent. GPT is basically a model that is trained to generate anything that would look very close to an answer. What does this mean? When GPT was trained, it was trained on 10% of the entire text available on the internet, plus the text of a lot of manuscripts, books, etc. What that means is that GPT does not understand what a square means or what a laptop means or what a ball means. GPT just knows that ball is spelled with BALL, and hence it has four characters BALL, or a laptop is spelled with six characters LAPTOP. It just knows that those characters are strung together in one word whenever the answer requires such a word. So if you ask GPT a question, say create a square, it can't really create a square, but hypothetically, if you were to ask GPT to create a square, GPT will first check what does a square look like. So it will go through its training data since it has been trained on all data. It will go through a square and then it will try to produce something that's very close to a square, which you can see on the right side of the slide, which is something very similar to a square, but not exactly a square because it has rounded edges. Now, I'll give you a much better example of what do answer-shaped things mean in this case, for which I'll take you to ChatGPT itself. Right. Now, as you can see here, uh, yeah, as you can see here, I tried writing the word lollipop in reverse. And this is model GPT-4, the latest one, the most intelligent one. However, when it tried to reverse the word lollipop, it didn't really know what even reverse means or what lollipop means. It just went into its training data, checked the patterns that were behind reversing. So reversing meant writing it backwards. It checked that in its training data. And then the word that I gave it, lollipop, it tried to rewrite it in backwards. And as you can see, the answer is incorrect. It wrote something that's close to lollipop. So since lollipop is a complex word for GPT because it has multiple repeated letters, like L is there three times, O is there two times, P is there two times again. It got confused and ended up jumbling the word too much. So the answer is not correct. However, I then tried and asked the same thing in the form of a Python program. So I asked it to write a code for on in Python that would help reverse the string, right? Which it did, as in it write the code correctly. But when I asked it to run the code, it could not because GPT again does not really understand these things. It's only a text model and it takes text in, checks it with the training data, and it gives text out which is close to the training data, something that resembles the training data. Now, which is why, despite asking it to write a Python script, it could not really do it. Now, I'll show you something very interesting. I asked the same GPT-4, it's the same model, same level of intelligence, same training data, etc., to give me the reverse of the word lollipop. But this time, I asked it to break the answer down into steps and show each step thoroughly while also describing its reasoning. So, what happened was that now this prompt and the prompt that you saw before, GPT does not see them as the same prompt, even though they effectively mean the same thing. I'm still asking for the reverse of the word lollipop, but still GPT sees them as something different because it does not understand meaning. All it sees is text, all it sees is letters. In the technical terms, letters are called tokens. So all it sees is tokens, and then it sees what should be the answer of the tokens, and then it tries to reproduce that answer. So here you can see that because I asked it to break it down into steps, it did break it down into steps. First it identified the word, broke the word into letters, then it reversed the order of the letters, combined the reverse letters, and this time you can see the answer is correct. Lollipop is spelled backwards 100% correctly. So like the desired output, GPT isn't intelligent in the conventional sense. It's intelligent in the sense that it can read every token and understand what's the next token for this. So in simpler words, it can read every letter and understand what the next letter would be. Okay, which is why when I gave it a prompt in which I asked it to break it down into steps, it found an answer for me that that was supposed to break it down into steps and rewrote that answer, which is why I got the correct like the desired output in this case. So yeah, just this should help you figure out how to write the best prompts, because this teaches you that for writing the best prompts you need to give it as much context as possible. You need to basically make it understand what kind of an output answer are you looking for, so that it tries the best to replicate that answer. So instead of asking GPT to teach you how to code, if you ask it to create a curriculum on how to code in a tabular form as per 52 weeks, if you had 3 hours per week to give, then it will give you a much better answer with a proper table, with the table being split week by week, and the curriculum of the table being on the basis of what you can the time that you can take out, which is 3 hours. So you have to give it as much context as possible. That's the only prompting skill that you need, being very frank. Now, coming to freelancing itself, I personally think that freelancing over time will increase. And the reason for that is that with artificial intelligence, a lot of jobs that we know technically today would be automated gradually, which means that teams of 10 that were creating some work before will now be able to create that same work in teams of 5 or teams of 3 or teams of 2, basically smaller teams, which means that over time, a lot of people who exit companies will not be employed full time. Rather, in order to work, they will work on an ad hoc basis with different companies. So, for example, if BuzzFeed can do the routine work of creating quizzes through artificial intelligence with a much smaller team, say instead of a team of 10 that used to create quizzes, now it only has a team of 3. Uh, BuzzFeed will do the routine work with the team of 3, but at the same time, whenever it needs something special, or whenever it has ad hoc additional work in the quizzing space itself, then it will temporarily being the keyword, hire a few extra people, say for a month or 2 months, or maybe for a 6 month assignment, or even shorter, like for a few weeks as well. Which means that most companies will function in a very agile and nimble fashion, and they will sort of keep their workforce extremely flexible. Whenever they have extra work, in the week that they have extra work, they'll find an extra worker to come and do the work. In the week that they don't have extra work, they'll just let the small core team, which is full time, do the work with the help of modern technologies such as AI. So, in my view, freelancing as a manner of employment will actually increase, because more and more percentage of people would rather be freelancers than be full-time employees, because freelancers would then get to work with multiple companies on the basis of whichever company has extra work. On the other hand, and hence earn more than full-time employees potentially, On the other hand, full-time employees would be doing the routine work with the help of technology that they have for specific companies and earn their routine salary. So, in my view, freelancing will become a norm, and I call this the Uberization of freelancing. Full-time hiring rather will become an exception, and this change will happen till the year 2030, perhaps. And this has already started in some way because uh, until 3 or 4 years ago, most startups had their in-house content creators, in-house social media marketers, etc., in-house video editors. But today they go to agencies such as those of Ishan or of other freelancers and other agency owners and get the same work done. So this change in process is already started to happen, and artificial intelligence will only accelerate it. Now, okay, since I explained that big picture chart and lump of labor policy, etc., uh, it's kind of but obvious that yes, new technology will always remove certain roles permanently, but it also will create more. So I have some examples for that too. Right. Um, since many of you are freelancers yourselves who work in designing spaces like Figma or Canva or video editing, since all of them are like under the umbrella of design actually, um, the currently the 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 alpha in skills that comes your way if you're a video editor or if you're a social media marketer, the alpha or the benefit in choosing you as a freelancer versus someone else is that you might have a greater command on Canva or any video editing tool like Premiere Pro or anything else, uh, as compared to the other freelancers, which means that suppose if there are two freelancers and one knows Adobe Photoshop much better than the other, and you have some work that requires Adobe Photoshop, you might go with the freelancer who has the Photoshop skill. Similarly, if you need a UI designer, then you might go with the freelancer who has Figma as a skill. However, what will happen in the coming years is that the relevance of the tool, which is Photoshop or Figma or Canva, will decline, and the relevance of the mind, which is how creative is a person, what can they do with the tool, etc., will increase. I'll explain this through an example itself. On the left side of the screen, you see the screenshot of Webflow, Webflow's website editor, to be more specific, and within that. You might notice that this is a typical graphical user interface that you have to pick your options, you have to pick your boxes, you have to drag and drop, you can adjust the width or the alignment, etc., by clicking and pointing through the mouse. What will happen next is that which is on the right side of the screen, is that you could tell what kind of a website do you want, and website tools like Webflow or Framer will create those websites within seconds, because again they are trained to generate answer shaped things. So if you ask it to generate a website of a dog adoption platform or a pet adoption platform, what it will do is that it will try to imagine what an ideal pet adoption platform website would look like, and then try to recreate it to the closest possible level. As I showed before, it will make answer shaped things, as you can see in this slide. Right. So and thereafter, of course, whatever website draft has been created, the editor can edit it, not again by using the canvas itself, which you see on the left side, but again by using the conversational agent itself. So if the website that is created, you perhaps want a different background, or you perhaps want the alignment to be different, then you can simply type in command, and the alignment would change, or the background would change, or whatever edits you want to make. If you want it to be a lighter shade of pink, you can just type it out and it will do that. So in a nutshell, tools, which includes Photoshop, Zapier, Figma, Canva, video editing tools, etc., they will move from graphical user interfaces to what we call a conversational user interface. Just like you converse with ChatGPT, just like you talk to ChatGPT, you will talk with these tools. You will have a conversation with these tools, and they will do what you want them to do. So what does that mean? It means that before artificial intelligence, if you wanted to get some Photoshop work done, you had no option but to go to a freelancer who is skilled at Photoshop. Even if another freelancer who is, say, more creative or more hardworking or has more ideas but does not know Photoshop, you would not be able to hire that freelancer. Today, on the other hand, or rather tomorrow, you might be able to hire the second freelancer as well, which means that even if a freelancer does not know Photoshop as well as another freelancer, but has better ideas and a more creative mind, then you will perhaps hire him or her, because just by talking to Photoshop, he or she will be able to get much better output than what the other person would, because the other person, even though he knows the tool, he does not have good ideas. This applies, again, I'm repeating myself, this applies to Canva, Figma, video editing tools, etc., etc. So this is how, in a nutshell, all the tools will change, and which is why you as freelancers need to adapt from being someone who is skilled at using the tool to someone who is skilled at imagining the output, and then prompting the correct way to fish out the right output that you desire. I'll simplify this on a case by case basis as well. So, suppose if you are a copywriter or a content writer or any type of freelancer that involves a lot of writing, uh, what will happen is that since you'll be able to talk and generate 10 different taglines within seconds, uh, your first drafts will become very quick. However, it's your mind that will allow you to picture those 10 drafts in the current present day context that you have. Uh, it will allow you to sort of think of the second order effects critically, that which copy would sell, which copy would hold the right attention, which copy would get a high amount of clicks, which copy would lead to more sales, etc., etc. And in a nutshell, which copy would be in demand. Similarly, if you are into design, okay, if you use Figma or Canva and you are into design, like knowing what kind of design would sell better, what kind of a thumbnail would have more clicks, or what kind of a poster will invite more signups for a webinar. Those kind of skills, those that kind of experience, that kind of critical thinking will now be more useful to you, because at a theoretical level, you will have to go deep into things and understand the principles of design. Like, uh, does does X type of UI look better here, or does Y type of UI is needed here? These questions will become more important, because simply knowing Figma won't help you out. Like, knowing Figma plus understanding what kind of designs do you need and what kind of designs will work, that is what will help you out. Similarly, creating landing pages, as I showed you the example of Webflow and Framer just now, creating landing pages may become very easy because of conversational tools. However, knowing that what kind of a landing page or website will have a greater conversion rate of sales, what kind of a website will have more signups, or what kind of a website will just be easier to use for a new user, that will become much more relevant. So the principles of website design and landing pages design, that will become much more important than simply knowing how to use Webflow or how to code a website from the scratch. The same extends to video editing as well. Today, I'm sure you've gotten the drill by now. Today, you might be using DaVinci or Premiere Pro or any other tool for editing your videos. Tomorrow also you will continue to use those tools, but what will become much more important is that because the tools have become conversational and very easy to use, and just any freelancer can now use those same tools and serve his or her clients, the freelancers who know what videos will hold the attention or get engagement and succeed at the client's objective, they will be relevant. Those freelancers will be relevant. Those freelancers will get better clients. So basically, everything will switch from being tool centric to thinking centric, which means that if you are a copywriter today, you should be a copy thinker tomorrow. If you are a UI designer today, you should be a UX expert tomorrow. You should think in terms of, okay, if a new user comes on the app that I'm designing, how many clicks does that user take in order to sign up? How can we reduce the number of clicks? How can we make the process simpler so that every new user, no matter where he or she comes from, can understand how to sign up, which button is for going to settings, or which button is for going to the chat room, or whatever. Basically, being a user design expert or user experience expert, sorry, both in theory and in practice, is someone you should be if you want to make better and better UI designs for tomorrow. Because again, simply using Figma is now going to be very simple, but using Figma the right way would be very difficult to get results. Landing page designer, if you are someone who designs websites or landing pages or any related things, then you should rather be a conversion rate optimization specialist. Go look this up. This is a huge field. You should know, like for example, even the shape of the buttons. If they are a rectangular button versus they are a button with rectangular but rounded edges, can improve the conversion rate of how many people click on it. So in future as a freelancer, the alpha for you will come, or the success for you will come when you understand these tiniest nuances of what creates better conversion rate. If you are a landing page designer, that is, because then you will be able to prompt correctly, you will be able to edit the drafts correctly, and really understand that okay, this website will sell the most because of these reasons, and hence you will show them to the client, and perhaps the results, that is the actual conversion rate, will reflect your hard work. Similarly, if you're a video editor, you should be a visual psychology expert. What kind of cut scenes, what kind of edits, what kind of special effects hold the most attention? That's something you should try to understand in addition to understanding the tool itself. Now, what if I were a freelancer? Actually, I'll come to this later, but I just have a few more examples to give. Today, if you are a email marketer freelancer, like you help people set up their MailChimps or any other equivalent of MailChimps, tomorrow, again, you should understand what kind of emails work better than the other for generating clicks, because you'll be able to interact with MailChimp in a conversational manner. However, knowing what mails would work, etc., would become very difficult. Similarly, if uh, if you want to explore a new field of freelancing altogether, then you could be an artificial intelligence consultant. Most SaaS businesses, most traditional businesses, most online sole proprietor businesses today are exploring how can they use AI tools and integrate them with their business. On futurepedia.io, you can find a list of more than 1,000 AI tools which serve very specific purposes. Yet most businesses don't really know which tool to pick, how to integrate it into their business, etc. So just like you have Mailchimp integration experts today, or Zapier integration experts today, in tomorrow's time, or even starting today, in fact, you will have artificial intelligence tool integration experts who will look at a business and say that okay, these are the places where you can use today's artificial intelligence tools. These are the tools which you should use. Let me integrate these tools into your existing workflow. I'll charge $1,000 for the assignment or more, perhaps. And this way, an AI tooling agency is something that a lot of freelancers can end up doing. If someone is new into freelancing, perhaps they should seriously explore this as a field. Now, what would I do if I were still a freelancer? So, as I mentioned, before my present job as a VC, I used to freelance on Notion, which is that I used to make customized Notion templates for mostly people in the West, and mostly around a second brain or organizing their life goals, etc. And I used to to customize those templates specific to their needs and sell to them for a few dollars, like a few $100 to be more specific. I did this for a few months, but if today I was a freelancer, what I would do is that immediately I would start cultivating a brand on Twitter. This is because a brand on Twitter can really help you escape the ordinary freelancing marketplaces that Fiverr and Upwork are. Fiverr and Upwork can get you clients, yes, of course they can. But if you have your own Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or Medium or any other social media profile which is active within the niche that you freelance in, you will get a lot of inbound leads. You will be able to charge higher because it will create a personal brand for yourself, and you will escape the commodification on various freelancing platforms. The second thing I would do is that I would learn the conceptual framework of whatever it is that I'm working on. So, as I said before, if I were a Figma designer, I would rather Like I would still continue using Figma, but I would, in addition to that, start understanding the principles of design from a theoretical level, so that I can understand the concepts behind whatever service I'm freelancing with, because that is what will help me serve better. Thirdly, I will get subscriptions to a lot of AI tools that will help me speed up my work. Because as a freelancer, you need to do a lot of routine work as well, like writing emails to your client, etc. Being a very small example of that. But there's a lot of peripheral work that you have to do in addition to your service itself. I would try to automate that using AI tools. Again, you can find the AI tools on futurepedia.io, and I would use them to sort of speed up my work so that I can take up more and more clients, or rather give better and more time to my existing clients, and just increase my turnaround cycle. If I were a video editor also, there are different tools that video editors can today use which will help them save time. So any freelancer would definitely benefit from that. So before I move to Q&A, actually, I just want to show you something different. Okay. um, what I mean by drafts to different what I mean by drafts to deliverables is that today with AI, you can create drafts very quickly. You can create UI drafts, or a poster draft, or copy drafts very quickly. You can create website drafts also quite quickly. But the the spillover effect of this would be that the cost of iteration, or rather the effort of iteration, which is trying out new designs, will reduce a lot. Trying out new special effects for a video, the time taken to try that will reduce a lot. So if you take 10x less time today, it will mean that you will be able to try out 10x different drafts, perhaps of all different concepts. And then you will be able to show those drafts to your client in order to get a draft approved or a theme approved, on which then you can perfect to turn it into a deliverable. So from zero to draft, perhaps artificial intelligence will help you, but to go from draft to a deliverable, you will have to deploy your own thinking. So earlier what happened was that a lot of time was spent on creation of drafts itself. And since you can't try out 10 different designs of posters within seconds, you could only create two or three drafts, or two or three design themes for a poster. You had to show them to the client. Maybe the client did not like any of them. You had to start all over again. Today, since in the same time that you create three poster design themes, you can create 30 poster designs themes. The likelihood is that out of those 30 themes, the client will like at least one of them, which means that your time taken on drafting becomes extremely quickly. And you as a freelancer can deploy your mind more towards going from draft to a deliverable stage, rather than going from a zero to draft stage. So this is how your day-to-day work would change. Rather than focusing on how, that is how to use the tool, you will focus on what to use the tool for. How, what kind of design themes do you want to create, what kind of drafts do you want to generate, etc. So yeah, that's all. Which means that due to the lowered cost of generating any kind of content, whether that's written content in the form of content writing or copy, or blogs or articles or essays, or it's video content in terms of shorts or reels or full-fledged videos or podcasts, or any other video advertisements, or image-based content like a graphic design, a poster, a thumbnail, or even coding based content like websites, landing pages, apps, etc. In all four of these categories of content, the freelancing will grow a lot, because the cost of creating this content will reduce. Uh, I'll just give an example of this, because many people feel that uh, due to cheap and easy content, freelancers will lose work. But rather, let me go into history to give you an example of why this won't happen. Until 5 years ago, it was very difficult to create a podcast. However, then new tools emerged, which now enable us to host podcasts much quickly. Does this mean that the number of podcast agencies reduced, or did they increase? Well, we all know with the benefit of hindsight that the number of podcast agencies increased in the last 5 years, which is because in the last 5 years, as and when the cost of podcasting and the time consumed to create a podcast started going down due to technology and tools available, we were able to have much higher number of podcasters jumping into the podcasting scene, which created much more work for freelancers, much more work for podcast agencies, much more work for virtual assistants of podcasters, etc., etc. So just like we saw the number of podcasting agencies increase in the last 5 years due to podcasting tools coming up, because of AI today, we will see more and more companies, more and more small businesses create their own websites. We will see more of them become more active on Instagram, because today the cost and time of creating Instagram content will reduce because of all these AI tools, which will create further opportunities for freelancers. We'll see more and more people engage in video marketing, because video marketing tomorrow will be cheaper than today. It will be cheaper and quicker than today. And since more and more people will jump into video marketing, more and more freelancing opportunities for that will be created. So, my advice to you would be that freelancing will grow, content based freelancing more specifically. And this is the right time to just jump into it. Now that, as I wrap up the thing, I, sorry, I stopped sharing accidentally. Let me share again. Um, as I wrap up and move to Q&A, let me show you something very interesting that I created with artificial intelligence. Okay. Um, yeah. Is my screen visible again?
Yes, Vijay.
Perfect. So just check out this QR code. Creating this QR code today is possible because of artificial intelligence. Before artificial intelligence, creating this QR code was not possible, because if you if you study a QR code, it's basically a collection of pixels arranged in a certain way. And if you try to superimpose a picture on it, then no designer, even if they are the biggest expert on Photoshop or any designing tool, would be able to create this without artificial intelligence. But through artificial intelligence, it is today possible. So in the coming years, we'll create and newer things that were earlier impossible, and it will create more opportunities, more resources, more jobs, faster learning curves than before. We are heading into a much better, optimistic time uh, than you might have believed. And if you grab onto the opportunity, then there is literally nothing stopping you. If you scan the QR code, in fact, it will lead to my Twitter account. So in case anyone wants to follow, well, they can do it. Yes, let's move into a Q&A. How much time do we have, Anmol, for questions? Yeah. The learning curve for the tool will be lower, because even if you understand the basic features of the tool, you will be able to navigate your way through it through a conversational interface, like we saw in this case. The screenshot that you see on the right side is present today. I think it's present in a pilot mode, but it will be launched for all users within a few months. So within a few months, using the tool will become very easy. So the learning curve will decline. However, the conceptual understanding of what kind of a website looks better, that will require a higher learning curve. So you can say that the learning curve will change in such a manner that learning the tool will be faster, but learning the concept will take more time. This is how the learning curve will evolve. Yeah, so I'll send a link of the QR code generator that I used. Perhaps I'll share it on the Discord server later on, because I'll have to go into my web history. But basically, there was, if you just Google QR codes by AI, you'll find a lot of websites that help you combine pictures with QR codes. So it will be very easy. Like, it does not need any specific skills. If they're sending questions in the text box, Anmol, could you read them out?
Okay, so hi Sparsh, hi Amol. So my question is like I have seen a lot of AI tools coming every now and then on Product Hunt as well, and people are using it for various purposes, be it design, be it writing, be it video editing, everything, right? So there is no norm as of now set key this is the best tool for writing copies, or this is the best tool for making videos, or this is the best tool for making images. So what's your thought on that will we have anything like that would be the best version of this, or is it already there and that I am not aware of? Are you getting my question?
Yes. Um, to answer this, think of think of like dropping 100 baby turtles on the seashore. When baby turtles hatch, they generally hatch on the seashore, and then they crawl their way into the sea because those turtles live in the sea. However, out of 100 turtles, only a few of the hatchlings actually reach the sea water, and uh, only a few of them end up surviving and thriving. So this is what will happen with AI tools also, because generative AI is so new for us, for most of us, that today developers, founders, entrepreneurs, solo builders, or whatever, are creating new and new tools very quickly because they are themselves experimenting with the technology. However, out of these tools, over time, superiority would be cemented. You will see 90% of the tools die out because they are simple wrappers of an existing AI model. However, you'll see 5 to 10 tools survive because their AI is superior to the other tools' AI. And that's when, just like today, you have Google for search. Even though you have other search engines, we know that Google is perhaps the best, or whatever. It's very good. Tomorrow, you will have a video editing tool which you would know is the best for AI videos. Like probably it will be Runway ML. If you haven't checked it out, you can check. Or for photos, you will probably again have a photo editing tool built on AI, which would emerge as the best. So in short, give it time. With time, we'll know which tool is the best because it's a very early stage, Abhi.
Okay, thanks for the answer,
Thank you.
Sparsh.
Yes.
First, am I audible to you?
Your voice is very dim.
Now you can hear me.
Yes, it's still slow. So if you could speak a little louder, it would be better.
Okay. So my question is, you can see on a daily basis, as you said, AI different tools are coming on. So that's not my question is, I'm a banker, and I'm looking out these things as you see, there is a fear among the peoples regarding the job and something. So what do you advise to someone who have spent at 8 or 9 years in the banking domain, in the retail banking, how he can learn and develop skills accordingly to upgrade himself and be competent in the market?
Okay. Within banking, what's the exact thing that you do? Like, what's your work like?
I'm a relationship manager and retail banking.
Okay. So, what I think, and again, time could prove me wrong here because this is a very specific question, but many aspects of your job might end up getting automated, which means that you will either focus on uh, like you will either focus on the more finer aspects of your work, which truly require a lot of critical thinking, or you will be moved within the bank to some other function, which for which the bank will retrain you, of course, and you will continue to do that. But overall, I would not be too worried about a layoff or your job becoming obsolete because relationship managers are actually mandated by RBI, right? That a bank needs to have a relationship manager for its account holders. So I if I were a relationship manager, I would not worry at all. In fact, your workload might decrease because a few of your mundane repetitive tasks will eventually be automated, and you will focus on, as I said before, the better part of your job. So yeah, I would not be worried at all.
Sorry to interpret, My question is that because of such things, AI is happening. So I'm finding out if I want to do transition, and as you used the term AI consultant or something, or many people are drifting one to another because of stagnation in the current job. The main reason people are shifting to one job to another is stagnation or something they are not finding out, or they get bored or something else. So if someone is curious and he wanted to opt for some, so how will you advise me from a BFSI sector what I can do?
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, the first step would be to go to futurepedia.io and check out all the new AI tools that are there. Um, you would have to try become a little more tech savvy. If you're not tech savvy today, I mean, then you will have to become tech savvy, because that's an essential skill going forward, I guess. Tech savvy doesn't mean you need to know how to code or anything. It just means that you need to be friendly or familiar with new kind of tools, and there you should sit and try to understand what the tools are, what do they do, etc., how to use them. And later on you can explore AI consulting. So what AI consulting means is that many small businesses, many startups, many companies, even large organizations want to understand how to use AI better. How, where all in their workflow can they integrate AI tools, which specific AI tools can they integrate, how to integrate, etc. So that will create a lot of AI based consulting or freelancing jobs. So perhaps in the longer run you can explore this, but in the shorter run, I think the first step should be to just explore the ocean of AI tools that is out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have time, but yeah, I have time, honestly. I'm done for the day work wise. Yeah. Oh, I'm not an expert on that. I think the expert on that is the owner of this Discord community, Ishan. You should consume his content. I think he has made a lot of content on how to grow on social media. Yep.
Yeah. Sparsh, I have a question. It's something personal. How you and Ishan have been started this, and what is your idea? Because I see you are very less. You are somewhere in 20s, and you have built up such a big companies, and you have doing very great job. So I'm finding out. What? Tell me something about your journey.
Okay. First of all, I don't know Ishan, so I cannot comment. I mean, I know him only through social media. I don't I have never spoken to him. Second of all, it's like, yeah, yeah. Regarding my job itself, I'm basically like the first hire of a VC firm called All In Capital. How I landed up there was A, my background in financial research. B, I read a lot. So since school, I spend 2 3 hours every day just reading random intellectual things, like perhaps on Medium, or essays of Paul Graham, or articles by any founders, entrepreneurs, etc. Articles about new technologies that are emerging. I read a lot, and I read everything that is there to read. So that helped me understand the startup world much better, because if I come across a startup or an industry, then I can give a perspective on how this industry or this startup would evolve in future, which is why perhaps the current VC firm that I work at, those guys got me on board, because otherwise they were a team of two only, so I'm like the third person in the team. Now we are a team of three, and yeah, we invest in startups. So yeah, in a nutshell, my academic background of financial research plus my habit of reading, I think that's what got me here.
Thanks for.
Uh, Hi, hi, it's Virendra. If I'm doing looking for a job in AI consulting or freelance gig, like what skills should I have? Basic things.
Right. So for any kind of freelancing, one basic skill you should have is how to generate leads for your freelancing agency, or if you are alone, then for yourself, which could be through outbound reach, cold approaches on LinkedIn, perhaps on mail, etc. So that's something that you need for every kind of freelancing deep down. One thing that you would need specifically for AI-based consulting would be to actually understand what all AI tools are there. For example, if a business comes to you and says that on their website they want to add a customer service chatbot. Now, do you know which AI tool would be the best for adding a customer service chatbot? If not, then perhaps that's where you should start. Study the number of AI tools that are there. What do they do? Which one is better, etc. And just learn how to use them, how to integrate them. If you get a random website of, say, any coach who runs his own website for selling courses, then how to integrate that customer service chatbot into that website is something that you should know. This is the fundamental skill that you need to become an AI consultant. Like, in a nutshell, knowing the tools and knowing how to integrate them and where to integrate them.
Okay, thank you.
And most of this does not require coding, by the way. It would be as simple as integrating MailChimp, which can be done with no code or low code. It's just that today you know MailChimp. Similarly, tomorrow you should know the plethora of AI tools that will be there for different tasks.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah. Hi, Sparsh.
Hi, Yasin.
What's your opinion on prompt engineering? Do you think it's really like a matter of thing to actually learn, or it will be actually automatic, like how we really communicate with each other?
Um, You should learn it, but I don't think prompt engineering would be a job. Prompt engineering is a skill, just like using a keyboard is a skill, using a mouse is a skill. It's not a job, right? But it's a skill that you need for every job. Similarly, tomorrow, prompt engineering will be something that every person will grow up knowing themselves. Like today, you did not, take classes on how to use a keyboard or mouse, but you just know it because you have grown up with a computer or with a laptop. Similarly, tomorrow's workforce will know prompt engineering, or to put it in simpler words, they will know how to interact with AI tools in a in a very natural manner, because they would have grown up with it and they would have gotten accustomed to it. So, in tomorrow, even if you're using MS Excel or PowerPoint, you will be able to prompt your way and create slides, or create Excel formulas or tables, etc., simply through prompts, and it will be just as natural as today using a keyboard and a mouse is.
Do you think one should spend time on it, on
Uh,
learning it?
yeah, so one should spend time using ChatGPT, using Midjourney, using Runway, which is for video, and other AI tools. When you spend time using those tools, you will automatically learn how to do prompt engineering.
I see.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Prompt engineering is actually of two types. So what Yasin was asking was about the front end of prompt engineering, which is how do you use ChatGPT. The back end of prompt engineering requires coding and is very complex. That will be a real job, because that basically that requires that is the art of how to build an AI app. That requires a lot of prompt engineering in the backend, which is very different from the prompt engineering that we know. So that will be a full-fledged job, which will be very high paying. But like the front end of prompt engineering, which Yasin and I were talking about just now, that will be a very simple skill that everyone will learn over time. Yep.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. My question is, how can I create AI?
Um, First step would be to start learning how to code. That's basically learning Python, learning what JSON files are, what machine learning is. Second step would be learning statistics, because machine learning models in the very end are statistical models. They work on regression, different forms of regression rather. So understanding regression, understanding hypothesis testing, etc. That is something that would be the second step on learning statistics. The third steps would be to understanding how APIs work, because most AI models are available in the form of APIs, which you can you can build on those APIs, with the API being the foundation, with your own artificial intelligence layer on top. So such that you can fine tune the AI model using your own understanding of machine learning, using your own understanding of how to code, which is why I told you that the first step is learning Python. When you learn these three steps, you will be able to create your own AI tools. It's easier said than done, though. If you're starting how to code today, it will take you at least 6 to 7 months to be able to create simple AI tools, simple but good AI tools.
And my next question and last is AI affect digital marketing type agencies?
I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
My question is AI will affect digital marketing agencies?
Yes, see, AI will affect everything, but could you unmute yourself, Ekbar? Yeah, thank you. So AI will affect everything, but affecting does not mean replacing. Okay. So it will change the way digital marketing agencies work, because again, they will be able to try out new ads, new copy for the ads, new visual designs for the ads, new keywords for the ads, etc. In a much quicker manner. So the cost and time taken to go through drafts or generate drafts would become very simple. It would become very easy, but it will shift the focus to then understanding what kind of advertisements, what kind of digital marketing works best. Uh, Again, in terms of, I'm circling back to what I said earlier, in terms of AI affecting your role as a freelancer, the importance of the tool will decline, and the importance of the theoretical concepts, the framework, the fundamentals behind whatever you're doing will increase. So, as a digital marketer, you'll now need to focus more on what catches attention, what hooks the audience, what retains the audience, what makes the audience click and not click, what makes a certain piece of content get more traction. Of course, virality cannot be manufactured, but getting more traction, etc., can be optimized for. So those things will matter more than simply knowing how to use Canva or any other tool that you use for digital marketing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Hi, Sparsh. So I'm a 3D artist. So in lockdown, I've learned this, and yeah, it went on well. My question is a bit different. So since anyone with a computer at home could now be able to earn decent and afford anything, afford much a lot of things that a normal person would. So how would someone go about gaining experience in communicating with each other, building understanding, working together with people, and so on? Yeah.
Could you repeat the second half of your question? Your audio broke.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So I was asking, how would someone go about building communication skills, working together with people, meeting people? Since now it's just you just need a computer to do your work, and you could do it alone.
Communicating with people will still be important, communicating with clients, communicating with members of your agency, communicating with your friends, communicating with your girlfriend or boyfriend. It will be more essential than before, because the world will actually become more connected than before. So the importance of communication will not decline. How you can build communication is that practice helps you gain confidence, know what to say, where to say, how to say, etc. B, there are specific books that you could read. Like there is an author named Robert Cialdini. He has written a book on influence and persuasion. Though his books are just the holy grail of how to communicate effectively and try to achieve your motives, or whatever your target is. So perhaps you can read that. But like more important than reading a book would be to putting it into practice. So just communicate more often, try to meet more people, go out more often. That's how you'll improve your communication.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool then. Anmol, are we done? Yeah, yeah, sure. Just hang on. No, Abhi, not now. Anmol. Thank you. Hmm. You're welcome, Manas. You're welcome, Vanchika. And thank you so much for being such a lovely audience. Thank you, Anmol, for hosting me. Yeah. Okay. Good night, guys. Bye bye.